How's it going? In this video, we're going to talk about the key KPIs needed on TikTok to scale and to actually get purchases for your ecom brand. All right, so let's hop into this. Before we get into that, my name is Peter. I'm the founder of Idyllic Media. We spend over $8 million in ads, and I'm just trying to provide some knowledge. So let's get into the video. For TikTok ads to work on the media buying side, okay? So first and foremost, for your ads to work, ideally the best kind of content out the gate is going to be content where you're collaborating with creators on the platform. That's going to be give you all the chances of succeeding. So you want to work with creators, either product seed, just send creators product that you find organically, work off a platform like Trend, Billow, etc. Work with a partner that has a list of creators, or reach out to these creators yourself via email, through Twitter, through the platform, right? So ideally you have content that they've creatively made, who are in your niche already, okay? So that's kind of the preface. So now let's get into testing. So there's really only three kinds of audiences on TikTok that you can test. That's hyper broad, stacked, and retargeting. Hyper broad, of course, is not putting any targeting into the ads manager. You're just leaving it wide open. Stacked is just using TikTok suggested interests and just stacking all your relevant TikTok interests. There's kind of a split between people that say test one interest at a time and people that say test a bunch of interests at a time. On TikTok, what we've been seeing is that the one interest thing doesn't really matter, because TikTok really will expand your reach anyway, even if you say not to. So we just usually test a stack of interests all at once, right? So just multiple interests together. And then the last kind is going to be retargeting, which again doesn't matter for this, because this is really for what you need to get started and to get moving. Retargeting doesn't come in until you've at least had a couple hundred purchases, thousands and thousands of website views for your site. Okay, so that's the only thing that really matters. You can do custom list uploads and whatnot, but again, I would wait till you have quite a bit of data on the purchase front before you get into retargeting. Okay. Cool. So to actually have an optimized pixel on TikTok, you need these weekly metrics, and what that actually is 50 add to carts a week. And this is if you're going for purchases, 50 add to carts a week, ideally 50 initiate checkouts, and then eventually 50 purchases. So we always start out with add to cart focused campaigns, and until we're getting 50 purchases or 50 add to carts on a weekly basis, we're not going to move into 50 purchases. And again, you don't have to do the 50 initiate checkouts. That's if you have a more expensive product and you need to slowly lead people into the buying funnel. Usually this is going to be products that are $50 or more. $50 or more, you're going to want to go from add to cart, get 50 add to carts on a weekly basis, then switch and make campaigns that are initiate checkout campaigns, get 50 initiate checkouts, or 50 add to payment infos, just something before purchase, and then you can make your purchase campaign. And of course, you're going to leave your old campaign as you run these. So when you are at 50 add to carts a week, leave it on, and then also add on the initiate checkout campaign, leave it on, and then get your purchase campaign going. And once you have 50 purchases weekly, then you can just fully focus on the purchase campaign. Okay. So you need to start at the bottom, start with it, add to carts, and then once you get that 50, you can move up, right? Some brands, if you have products that are under $10 or like under $15, you can get away with getting purchases just from add to carts. So we have some brands, like a jerky brand, who does really, really well with just doing an add to cart campaign, and we don't even do purchase conversion campaigns. We just get enough purchases from our add to cart campaign. So in that case, we just keep the add to cart campaign running, right? In other cases, I've seen this only once before. You're not getting a lot of add to carts, and so sometimes if you have a really expensive product, so we're talking more in the $100 plus range, instead of going for add to carts first, you need to go for view contents first or something in that realm. So usually if a product's really expensive, we'll start off with 50 view contents, get 50 view contents a week on a weekly basis, then go to add to cart, then go to initiate checkout, then go to 50 purchases. Okay. But ultimately you need to, for most brands in general, the 50 add to carts is good. And then you can move on to initiate checkouts and then 50 purchases a week. And this is going to take longer, depending on your budget, of course, how much you can spend a day, right? That will determine how long this takes, but this is what you ultimately need to have an optimized pixel. Cool. And then eventually you'll get to 1,000 events. So once you have 1,000 actions taken, 1,000 initiate checkouts or purchases or whatever, that's when it's fully optimized and you're going to be getting like the best data possible. So that takes a while, but it's just a good metric to keep in mind. And so this, by the way, is why brands with high budgets always pretty much do well. It's because, they can get to this quite a bit quicker than brands that don't. And so they cut a lot of that like lag time out. Okay. So in terms of testing KPIs, again, this is going to depend on the brand. Ideally, a 2% or higher click-through rate. Click-through rate, and this is for, by the way, purchase conversion, because if you do a different conversion objective, it's going to be way higher on click-through rate, right? So this is for purchase conversion objective. Really what we're looking for is around a 2%. Some 1 to 1.5% campaigns do well, but when we see campaigns that reach to a 2%, that's like, whoa, this is a really good creative. So that's what we're looking for, but at least 1%, but ideally we want to see around 2% click-through rate. Cool. The next metric is going to be CPM. Again, this is totally dependent on the niche and the market you serve. Again, this is for a purchase campaign. Some of our CPMs are like in the $30 range for more expensive products. Markets that are like in the supplement space. Some fitness markets are like this. Some specific beauty niches have really expensive CPMs. Ideally, you just want the lowest CPM possible. We're still seeing $10 CPMs for a lot of niches, so we try to find targeting that gives us a $10 CPM or under. That's when we know this can really scale. If it's higher than that, it's okay, but you need to just tread carefully and make sure you realize why your CPMs are so high, if it's the niche you serve, if that's the main reason, or if it's something else, okay? The next thing is like cost per click. Again, depends on the price of your product. If you're selling something for a couple $100, your cost per click can be $5, if it's like a $400 product, right? But ideally, again, for most brands that are looking to advertise on TikTok, you really should have a cost per click under $1, right? And then average watch time per person, we want to see around 5 seconds or higher for average watch time. So the way TikTok judges content isn't percent based. It's not how much of the video did they watch. It's now how long in total did they watch. So it sounds like from what we've been seeing and what we've been hearing from a lot of other brands in the space to get a big sample size is that it's now more about just the length versus the percent, because TikTok is starting to favor longer form content. They're feeling a little bit competitive with YouTube, so that's why we want at least 5 seconds. Some of our videos have 10, 15 seconds, but we just want people watching as long as possible over a higher percent, if that makes sense. Cool. And of course, you just want your cost per acquisition to be in range based off your ideal cost per acquisition. That's the ultimate tell, right? That's really all we're looking for. So I hope that makes sense in terms of the testing KPIs. Cool. And then once we hit these, we're just going to scale it out of the gate. Cool. So I hope that makes sense in terms of some of the KPIs you need to hit to do well with TikTok ads. There's definitely a few more, but these are the key ones I would say that are absolutely essential. So if you don't have these, then it's going to be pretty difficult to scale, and definitely difficult to get even any initial traction, because the start is the hardest for sure. And then once you get those 50, 50, and 50, you're doing well. Okay. Let me know of any questions in the comments, and I will see you on the next one.